Hi, everyone. Welcome to another amazing topic of conversation. I want to thank my sponsors, the Health Channel. So please sign up for their newsletter with anything concerning your health. And if you need any workspaces, even if it's a virtual office, an office for an hour, or a boardroom, Alexa's Workspaces can help you. So, Jeff, thank you so much for joining me. And like I said before, I think you're the first person that I interviewed twice.
Well, I'm so honored.
Yes. So, events. We're both like, I feel, veterans in events. And we've been through the good, the bad, the ugly, the COVID, and back again.
We've experienced it all, yeah, from the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's basically what it was. And so much has changed in the last 4 years as well. Not only in direct result of COVID, which we say that like it's a cold now. It's nothing. It's no big deal. It's
No, but it was. It
But it was.
totally.
Oh my gosh, yes, it totally changed and forced every industry to reevaluate and to change and everything, and our industry is no exception to that. But what's come along that was it was definitely in development long time ago, long before COVID was a factor, is that technology has evolved at a more rapid pace than it always has, especially dealing with AI. And AI has, I still don't think it's matured, but it's maturing every day. And in the last 4 years, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, if we said AI, we were mostly thinking about a movie, or, we were just talking about theoretical AI stuff that really wasn't, large language AI. And now we're literally dealing with that as everyday consumers.
But AI, or artificial intelligence, which created such a big boom after ChatGPT launched.
Yeah, so it's been about 2 years.
But, but let me go back a little bit because Google, Alexa, and all those are artificial intelligence.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So I don't
Voice.
understand what happened between the Alexas and the ChatGPT that created such a big disruption.
I would say, here's a term you probably have never heard of, small language or large language AI. Um, Small language is kind of what most people like like Alexa and Google and Siri and all that use small language. Basically, it's AI in a very simple programmed form. In other words, we can say it, we want to call it AI, but really it's sort of like the beginning of stages, the simple, the kindergarten level AI, in that it was really not AI. It wasn't artificial intelligence as much as it was programmed responses. So you look at Alexa and Google, it's just a bunch of code that is programmed to have certain responses based on a series of things, which AI is also part of that, except the difference is that large language AI can literally teach itself new things. It can discover new things, and it can go out there. When you refer to Chat GPT, for example, Chat GPT, what changed that? By the way, Chat GPT only became public in October of 22, so it hasn't even been 2 years yet. And the difference is that you can literally ask it to come up with something. There's prompts. You have to prompt it. That's the hardest part. People have to think because we're not computers, but we have to sort of think like computers to think logic because logic has everything to do with the success of AI. So once we prompt it with the proper prompts, it will go out and find information and develop and deliver it to you, as opposed to a Siri, a Google, or a Alexa and things where, Alexa, what time is it? Well, there's a clock all over the world. There's
Yes.
clock, and it can find the time and it can
Exactly.
tell you the time. Alexa, do this or that, whatever, those are all canned responses, or programmed responses that are pulling data from readily available information without having to think beyond the readily available information. Is more large language AI starting to get involved? I would say Google's definitely doing it. In fact, Google has a new product. It's funny, I installed it about a month ago on my phone. I still haven't even used it yet. Basically, it's the replacement of Google Assistant. And Gemini, it's called Gemini, Google Gemini. Google Gemini will replace Google Assistant, but it's Google Assistant with AI, with true AI. So it really is using AI to go further on its responses. And it's sort of in beta right now, but it's fully workable. Everything you could
Give
do with
me
your
an example of what would you use it for?
I haven't used it, so so
Oh,
like I said, I
so
installed it, but I've yet to actually activate it. But what I've read about it, and the reason I went ahead and did it was, I like the idea that I can. Here's a perfect example. I'm going out of town, which actually that was exactly the situation when I installed it. I was going to Texas, and I installed it while I was at the airport reading about what it could do, and I'm like, oh, good, I'll just activate this on this trip. It would be pretty cool to be able to ask Google Assistant, hey Google, I'm here in Houston. Can you tell me what's a good Italian restaurant? I feel like Italian tonight. What's a good Italian restaurant in my neighborhood that serves blankety blank? And it'll go through and it'll read the menus of the systems. It'll
it's a
bring back the
little more refined.
more refined, more detailed, but it'll
Okay, more
continue learning.
detail.
Yeah. And maybe I could say, but I'm only interested in a restaurant that has got a 4 or better star rating, well, then it's going to go in, it's going to use
Okay, so it
analytics.
refines more than just a Google search.
And instead of just telling you, here are all the Italian restaurants in your neighborhood, which is what
Okay,
Google Assistant would have done. Here it's going to go in and give you much more detail, including like, hey, here are, I don't know if you know how Amazon now takes reviews, and with AI, it basically gives you a summary of reviews. It's on a particular product.
or recommend it for you.
No, that is more basic. Okay, no, this is
Okay, that is basic.
yeah, yeah, because that's just recommendations are really saying people who bought this also bought that because the
Okay,
algorithm the algorithm is just going to help you buy more stuff, so that's different because it's just, I could program a shopping cart and say, hey, if people buy item A, I'm going to suggest that they also buy C, D, and E, you know, that's just the
got
the
it.
program, the algorithm, exactly. But what Amazon has done now is you go through all the reviews and you see a product you like, and you see that there is a 4.3 review. Okay. Are you going to sit there and click, 12,000 reviews to get, to form your opinion? Instead, now what they've done is they've taken using AI and they've compiled an AI-driven response so right at the top now you'll see um, customers who have bought this product feel that, blah, blah, blah. And it literally kind of summarizes a bunch of reviews into one, what looks like a review, but it tells you it's AI
So
driven.
it's summary.
It's a summary that's created by its AI driven summary, creating by looking at all the reviews and looking at the similar words and basically coming up with a feel. It's not necessarily copying direct words. It's coming up with a variety of things and saying, well, gee, it seems like everybody likes this and they feel good, and that might be the
Or
word it uses.
or what it says that this product has been returned many times.
That's correct. Yeah, yeah, sure. That could be, this product. In fact, there is something that I looked at. I wasn't even looking to buy it, but I clicked on something just out of curiosity about a week ago, and that was exactly one of those things where there was a review, and then it said, it had decent reviews,
Yeah,
but the
but
the the AI said this product has been returned many times by many customers.
times.
Are customers
So
going to be saying that? They probably wouldn't review, and certainly Amazon wouldn't be telling you that. But they want the AI to be honest and upfront. So yeah, AI can go a step further than what just basic standard programming can do, or just looking at small language, looking at simple words and copying and summarizing what's in simple terms. It can go a step further and actually analyze what's being said and come back with that information. So
but
that's where AI works really good.
Before we go into AI and the event business, the other day I was testing ChatGPT with the content of a conference.
Okay.
And literally, like you say, you populate it, you say, okay, this is the topic, this is the theme, give me a 2-day conference. And to my surprise, the whole day was already planned.
Their whole agenda. Yeah, sure.
The whole
Sure.
agenda was already planned that you can literally just copy, paste, and send it to a client.
You want to know what else you could do with that? Okay. So
But
you take that, you copy that information back into those. You copy the highlights, let's say the agenda, and you put that back into ChatGPT, and you say, now, following this agenda, please recommend 5 speakers in each category,
and
five
they
professional
will.
speakers in each category, and it's
Oh
going to
God.
come up with bios for each topic. It's going
And
to come
it
up with
will
bio with
actually
five
come
pages.
up with.
Yep. It'll come up with the names of people it recommended based on what people put on their websites and what people say about themselves and maybe reviews of speakers and things like that. It'll search the internet for for professional
Or
speakers
possible matches.
and possible matches exactly, and
So
you
why
can
do
ask
they
it,
need us now?
well,
Now we're
somebody's
talking
got to
to the
pay them
person.
still. Somebody's got to pick up the phone and call them and say, "Hey, are you available on this date?" Eventually, even AI will even do that. They'll look at their calendar and they'll see, okay, your conference is September 1st through 3rd, and John Smith is available on
No,
his
they
calendar
send,
1st
you
through
get
3rd.
an
Would you like me to
automatic
book him for
email.
you? Huh?
You get an automatic email. You had
Right.
just been referred to a conference. Are you available on this day and night? And that's it.
Yeah, that it'll go that far. It'll go that far. It might have to use a different application, than ChatGPT to do that, but I'm sure that that type of technology is um,
Readily available.
it's readily available, but not necessarily in just as, like, for example, ChatGPT doesn't do your emailing for you. You can copy the text and pop it into an email program and send it out. But maybe one of the others, one of the other uh, CRM systems, customer relation management systems, will be able to do that for you. So if it has AI built in, let's just use an example like Salesforce, for example. Salesforce might be able to take that information and then follow up with a letter and do the engagement for you.
But wait a second. Okay. You mentioned something really important, that AI will be able to do the engagement for you.
Mhm.
I feel that in the event business, the personal aspect cannot go away. No matter how much you can send a personal, an AI created follow-up email, but there also needs to be somebody behind it. The little details are not programmed by AI. For example, let me give you an example. Uh, you have a conference and there's somebody really allergic and they send you, okay, I'm allergic to garlic. So yes, you get a notification. This is the person that's allergic to garlic, but you don't know who the person is. Like
That's
AI
not
is
true.
not going to be, well,
No,
well, they can
that's not
send you
true.
a picture, they can send you the whole thing,
So
but you
so the
still,
person registered though with you, and now they they
correct.
they filled out a form, and
Yes.
you can have your AI on your side reading the needs of your
No,
guests.
that yes, we're beyond that. I read the needs, I have the garlic, I planned for it. When the person gets in, you have to have somebody there actually talking to the person, knowing where the person is going to sit, who the person really is, so
Yeah,
that you can avoid serving garlic.
sure. Yeah.
That is what I'm saying, because a lot of people go, okay, now we have so many programs that can actually do the event for you that we don't need planners behind it.
No, no, that'll never be the case. I mean, there's always has to be some human factor to it. Because at the very least, to prompt AI to do something, it takes a human being to prompt it. Okay. AI might be smart, but it's never going to be, I mean, who knows the future, but I predict it's never going to be as smart as humans. Now, is it going to be smarter than some humans? Absolutely. A lot of them vote in
A
Kentucky.
lot. The
So,
answers, like I got into a fight with ChatGPT. And by the time I realized that I was fighting with a machine,
yeah,
it blew my mind away
yeah,
that it was actually empathetic.
yeah.
So that part is very weird. And what I was going to say, because I know that you're going to give us a whole list of AI that's working for the events, but, and I come to you because I feel that after COVID, we're back to old-fashioned events. We're back to connecting with each
Yes,
other.
yes, that's
We're
true.
back to that personal touch. We're back to that networking where I really want to meet that person and really meet and get to know that person and not just connecting on a LinkedIn basis.
Right.
So it's a
Listen,
kind of a,
so I've always been a techie. I've always been first adopter of things. And when QR codes started being used for business cards and things, you see I have a QR business
oh, I
card.
had a QR code when I started 20 years ago, and people said, "What is this?" And I took it away because nobody knew what it was.
Right. Well, when it first came out, I was against them because they were being used mostly for advertising, and like the first place I remember being used in the event industry was the Perfect Wedding Guide. The Perfect Wedding Guide decided they were going to change, they were going to reformat their books, and all the ads and every
Every
page exactly alike. In other words, one picture at the top, text at the bottom, and a QR code. And then the QR code, people were going to be expected to scan the QR code to learn more about you. And then based on what you paid in advertising, the back end of that QR code was going to be a landing page that Perfect Wedding Guide created to give more content. And I thought to myself, this is ridiculous. I don't, most people aren't going to know how to use still today, there's a lot of people that don't know how to use a QR code,
Bill,
and
correct.
you said it's been 15 years or so since those things came out. But what happens is, uh, you know, first of all, not everybody is a techie. Not everybody's going to adopt the technology. Look why flip phones, and I'm not talking about the fancy ones with color screens, and I'm not talking about the old-fashioned flip phones. Why are there some people that still buy those? Because some people just they're comfortable.
And
They
they don't
focus
want to
better.
change.
Right. It's not that they don't want to change. I would say in many cases, we all have our idiosyncrasies, and some people can't change because if they change, it just ruins their lives. They can't function. So they're better staying in the lane. And as long as everything, runs in this direction, I'm good. I can handle that. It's just when the road curves a bit, it throws me off. And that's
I can handle the Samsung Kindle
right.
part
Yeah.
of it as opposed to the Mac,
Yeah.
the iPad. I can't commute with it. So I
Yeah,
understand.
and I get it. And what's actually funny is I know that you have a Samsung phone, and so do I. And actually, it's very interesting because Android is so much larger than the Apple ecosystem. I mean,
Oh,
all
they're
over the
gonna
world.
kill you.
Well, but it's a fact. I mean, all over the world, people use Android. In America, everybody wants to be on Apple because it's buying a trendy thing because we're all so plastic in that sense. We all have to buy whatever's hot and cool and new. We don't necessarily go with what's better. But Android, and then look at WhatsApp. Everybody's communicating. If you live in South Florida, I would say WhatsApp is probably a lot more popular than
Not
any other
only in
texting.
South Florida, I think
No,
in
it's because of the out of South Florida relatives. All the South Americans
not
communicating with
only
their
South
relatives here.
Americans,
The
Europe
Israelis. Oh no, the Israelis. Anybody who has relatives outside of America is using
use
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
Yeah,
Correct,
right.
use
You
WhatsApp. But
know,
if you go
um,
into the United States, they don't.
right. They don't. They don't.
No, it's a, I became, it's a cultural thing.
Right. But what are they using in the United States? A lot of people are using not FaceTime, iMessage. They're using iMessage, which is an antiquated system, but it's locked down by Apple. Even Google has what they call RCS. It's a whole newer technology which is built into WhatsApp, by the way. And Google and WhatsApp are both using this similar technology, and Google's trying to make it universal that everybody should use it, and Apple's still saying, nope, nope, we want to lock our system down, and whatever, that's fine. But America's where everybody, where a lot of people, I should say, use iMessage, and then the rest of the world is using WhatsApp and using
What's
Android
up?
phones because, believe it or not, they're smarter, and you say you're not as techy, but you're using a much more technical device than an iPhone.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah, and it's more of a tool because it has such great abilities for you, the AI. Samsung, it was the first phone to have AI built in. The current generation of Samsung phones that came out this year all have AI built in to the hardware, in addition to software, kind of a back to back. I predict next year and over the next 2 years, it's going to be all the hardware internally is going to be able to process all the AI without having to go out to the cloud. And let me show you something that just came out. I just got this past Saturday. This is the new Samsung earbuds, right? They call
Okay.
them the earbuds, the Samsung Buds 3 Pro. Okay. They kind of look like the Apple earbuds for whatever, they put a little extension on the microphone now and everything. But I want to talk about AI. These little earbuds now have AI built into them. And get this, you and I could be talking two different languages, and I have these in my ear. You could
It
be
can be
talking to me
translating it?
live,
No
live, in
way.
real time. You could be talking to me. I could be traveling to
No
Yugoslavia,
way.
and somebody could be a shopkeeper could be talking to me in Yugoslavian, and I'm hearing it in English.
That would be the perfect gift
It's
for
now. It's today. I have it in my hand. It works today. It's
it
working.
works. So if you put it on and I talk to you in Spanish, you will hear in English.
Yes, correct. You have to, obviously, in the app, you just go on, you turn it on. You have to activate it in the app, but that's AI.
That's
That's
pretty
where it's gone to.
amazing.
Yeah. Now, in the events world, that's already happening with live
So
translation services.
correct. So what happens with live translation?
So you mean a human being?
Well, now there isn't because I remember that a simultaneous translation was first of all, it was very expensive. Second of all, it was very, um, what can I tell you? It was the people that did the live translation had to concentrate so much that I remember that I always send them the topic, what it was about. I remember I had an event and I went to the translators and said, okay, I'm going to fill you up with coffee because this is a very, very, very boring conference. And this is what it's about. And
Sure.
I told them, and it was extremely boring. So they have to change every hour
Yeah. To keep
because of
themselves
the
awake.
time of concentration.
Sure. Sure.
So
Um, you
now
know,
that is eliminated.
yeah, now you really, I haven't dealt with translate live translation in a few years at an event, but I did have to look into it for an event we just had a couple last month actually, and they asked me about the possibility, and I said, yeah, sure, and I looked more into the AI version of it. Um, but the fact is, yeah, AI can do that now, and you work with your AV company now to do that, as opposed to used to be standalone. It can integrate with
Correct. It used to be, yeah, and very
the AV
specialized
company
people.
had, yeah, exactly, very specialized people. The AV company, as long as there was a monitor for the people to hear it, to hear and read back, that's all the involvement with the AI.
What
Now it's a
happens
computer
with, for example, okay, I remember that the biggest issue was
headsets.
the headset, and if something interfered, you wouldn't hear, okay. But my biggest concern, because I'm very picky with speakers, is the emotional part. So when I interviewed translators, they had to actually translate also the emotional part. With what you're telling me, it's gonna be flat.
So I'll give you a personal thing that just yesterday and today I was dealing with. So I have a video editing application. I have all the fancy video editing tools for editing. I can edit a television show if I wanted here. However, something that's a lot more simpler jumped on the scene a few years back. A company called Wondershare came out with a video editing program called Filmora. Originally, it was on your phone to be able to edit social media clips. The company's a German company, and now there has been since about 2000 in 2020 rather, it's been an app for your Mac and your PC and stuff like that as well. And they've pushed AI into it like you would not believe. I mean, it's like every day there's something new, a new feature. So a new feature that was just released in it, as a standard feature now, as opposed to an extra feature that was being in beta, is your voice, okay, your actual voice. So yesterday,
Translated
translated. Let me explain. So
with emotion.
that's what I was getting to. So what it does is you can record your voice several different ways and save it in. And then when you type text into a screen, when you type text, it will actually translate that text and read it in your tone. You want to be serious, you want to be fun, and things like that. But it has a whole bunch of different voices. It has a whole bunch of male and female voices that are in its catalog. I would say maybe 40, 50 of them. And of the different male and female voices, you can do this one's more childish, this one's serious, this one's
Oh,
stern, this one's, and you pick it. So you get that, that ability to choose the voice, how you want the voice to
how
be.
you want to sound.
Right, how you want it to sound. And that's what you're going to see now. Now, that's a video editing application, but I am sure that if they're doing a video application in live translation, sure, why not? Let's, before the conference, a week before, a month before, whatever the case is, let's find out what the tone is of your speaker. So let's say Gladys Mezrahi is going to be coming up and she's going to be speaking on XYZ, okay? So now, Gladys, before we get together, I'd like to there's two ways that this can go. Okay. Way number one could be Gladys, before the conference, I'd like to record, 2 minutes or 3 minutes of your voice reading some of your content. And I'm
Or
going
a
to
welcome message that you can
record
just put it out there in many languages.
the sample that this thing did for me was it said anywhere from 20 seconds to a minute is all it needed of my voice, and it gave me a script to read. And the script to
Okay.
read was, because you can get the intonations and things like that. So I did it, and when I played it back, I was, oh my God, this is great. When I played back the script, but then when I applied it to something else, I had a dialogue, a promotional message that I was putting in to describe one of our products. And I said, oh, click, let me try this. Oh my gosh, I was blown away how in my voice, something I have never said came out so beautifully and so well done. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly how I would sound
That's
doing it.
what I would like.
Yeah, that's what I would like. But then I chose, okay, you know what? How about if I don't want my voice, I want a woman's voice. And I selected four different women's voices because I wasn't sure which one I liked until I found the one that was, oh, I like this one. This one sounds the kind of voice I would like to hear. So that's the thing that's really cool. Give me 1 second. Let me close my door here because my dog is going to bark. I'm back. So
So
anyhow,
this is really something
this
that
is
I
today. I mean,
didn't know that it exists. So we're really current
no,
today.
and that is AI. AI is going to let you say, okay, do I want this to be, a funny voice? Do I want it to be like somebody who's got an attitude? A young. In fact, let me open it up and I'll take a look and see what some of the choices are. And let's see.
So are you actually doing this research for an event coming up and how to incorporate it?
So no, in this particular case, it's literally I was editing a video of a new product that we have, and
Okay.
I was writing my description out for the product, where there will be text on screen on the demo on the video of the product. The product be seen, you just see the text for people
Okay,
just to
yeah.
read it themselves. It wasn't meant to be have the narration. But I went ahead and copied that and did attach the
And plug it
narration.
in,
And I was like, this is
but you're
great.
talking, the way I'm seeing it is you give one of those to the person coming in for the event and you can listen to any language that you want.
Yes. Yeah. And not only can you
And
listen to,
that is amazing.
not only any language that you want, but also in the person's voice. So my voice with my tone in Lithuanian, let's say,
Yeah,
so
okay, that is weird.
that's where it is. It's going to be, oh, Jeff spoke Lithuanian. I didn't know you spoke. Or Jeff speaks
So
Russian. Wow, who knew? No, Jeff doesn't speak Russian, but guess what?
guess
The AI
what?
can
We
mirror that.
have that for an
So
ability for a new event.
right, and so this is going to happen in real time. It is already happening in real time to some degree. How extensive, like I said, if we're already doing this in video editing, um, in practically real time, to be honest with you. I mean, it took seconds for it to translate and pop that in. I don't see why, including the intonations and all that stuff, my voice style, for example, I don't see why it can't do that in live
The
translation. I know live
emotional,
translation exists with AI already, but just can
yes.
now my voice and all that, how much more processing power is required for that? I would venture to say that every modern computer today probably can handle that processing with no problem. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Um,
So Jeff, with that, we don't have any more minutes.
okay, so let's take
But
that.
give
Let's look at,
me one more of your favorite AI tools for the event business.
okay, I would say the number one tool for the event business that I think that and it has AI. It's not necessarily an AI tool, but it has AI in it, and you can use it very well. Canva, Canva, the graphic
Yes.
editing program. If you are in the event industry and you're not using Canva, then you're probably falling further and further behind because you don't have to be a graphic designer. So to be able to just go in and look at some of its templates and that's where the AI comes in. There's they use AI at different levels. Okay, so um, for example, I want to create a flyer about my new LED foosball table. So I can literally go into the create a new document and type in a set of instructions that I want to give it some prompts, in other words, and then it's going to come up with a template that like what would
That you
look
would
good
be able
for a
to use.
flyer that I'd be able to use. Now, maybe the sample that it gives me might not be for a foosball table. It might be for something else, but I can drag and drop my images into it. That's not a problem. But I can also go into the photos section of it and in the elements and find photos that, let's say, I mean, I have on my LED foosball, I have my own table and I have plenty of photos and videos. But let's say my photos and videos weren't that good. I can go in and I can say, hey, show me some foosball tables. And I'm sure it's going to find me a bunch of foosball tables with LEDs. I'm sure it'll find me stock images that I could use for that stuff. And I know for a fact that it will allow you, if you have a subscriber, there's a huge library of stock images and stock videos available. So if you're a planner, for example, and you're putting together a conference, and you're just getting this conference. It's your first year doing this, and you have no photos, no videos to show from previous years. You are going to have speakers, but you haven't lined up your speakers yet. You're going to have this, you're going to have that. You could put everything, all your
Between the
marketing.
Canva and the AI, your whole conference is totally planned for
Yeah.
you.
Well, and the fact is, you can use the AI to search and find the elements in Canva to just drag and drop and create it for you. So I think Canva's AI, one of the, it uses AI in different ways and it uses it in multiple different places. So, for example, you want to write text. Canva can literally write copy for you. So you want to again give it some prompts, and it can write out its copy for you. They call that smart. or magic text or something like that. I can't remember what it is. It pops up. I'm good at writing my own things, but whenever I write something, it gives you the option to say, "Hey, you want to try this with magic
Want to
text?"
try it and we can write it for you?
Yeah, and it'll rewrite what you've written. So in other words, write what you want to write, and then the magic text or whatever it's called, the choice always pops up underneath the text bubble, and all you do is you say, yeah, sure, what the heck, click on it, and it'll give you several choices, and you say, hey, you know what, this writing's a lot better than my own, and put it in there, and then of course any smart person is going to read the copy and then say, okay, maybe this is too good of text, or maybe it's too robotic sounding, or it's not in my voice.
Yeah, you need
So the
to
hard thing is to go back and edit that
and
information.
edit the whole thing because I was gonna say, when I get those emails that look like really robotic, I don't even respond.
Right. Yeah,
That
exactly.
I
Feel the same way.
literally
I know it's just junk.
I know it's junk and it's like, okay, they put my email there and they just put send and a million people get the same email and let's see who comes up with something.
Right, exactly. So that's I would say if a number one tool for me that we use every day. Every day we're in Canva doing something. And sometimes we're doing things in Canva. Like yesterday, this past weekend, I was doing a few things in Canva that I was going to use in my videos that I was making. I was editing videos and I wanted text in a certain style, and I knew I could do it quickly in Canva, easier than finding the text
Fine.
in the video program. So I did it that way. So using tools, um, integrating different tools sometimes, cross using, do something in one program, output it, and
And
then put it into another program.
and then
Is
incorporate it.
Yeah, and then incorporate it exactly. So yeah, that would be my number one tool. I just think, for $10 a month, you know, people talk about using Photoshop, and listen, Photoshop is a great program, but
But it's
99
not as easy
it's not as easy. 99% of what you need to do, you don't need Photoshop for. And you can do it easily in Canva. I think the only
unless it's really big, big designs
big designs or very complex designs,
or
because
very
let me tell
complex
you,
designs, because then, yes, you really need a
we,
designer to
we do some very complex designs in Canva. You can layer it just like Photoshop.
correct.
You
But
can, you can,
but for print ready when it's
oh, print
very
ready,
big,
300 DPI output. Oh, no, no. Canva does that. There's
but
no
up to a
question.
certain point.
No, no, actually, um, if you can think of the math, it's actually a lot
Oh
easier.
no, don't even go there. That's
Well,
the same level as a Mac. I
so
don't do measurements.
this is the thing. Like, for example, I need to do a step and repeat, let's say, and I need the step and repeat to be 40 feet wide and 10 feet high. Okay.
Okay.
Well, Canva is not going to do a document that's 40 feet wide and 10
No,
feet high.
correct.
Okay. Photoshop is, but you're going to get this incredibly tremendous size file that you're working on until you output it to a PDF, a printable PDF,
Yes.
which it'll make it smaller and easy to ship, to send over to your printer. But Canva, you don't have to do that. You need 40 feet wide by 10 feet high. You can basically shrink that down, design it at the highest
Sometimes it
resolution,
depends on
but
what
but
you
do it
do, the
proportionately.
printer. It depends on what you do, the printer will accept it or not.
Well, most printers, and a lot of people don't know this, but most printers are printing at only 100 DPI in large prints like that. There's no need to go any higher. So when you do 100 DPI on a large step and repeat like that, the quality is amazing. Unless somebody goes right up to it and tries to read the pixels with a microscope, they're not going to. So you don't need that high print on a magazine, or in
And
smaller.
it can take, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
then that's 300 DPI.
That's
But
really, yeah.
but in a big poster like that, I mean, it just doesn't need to be that, and they're not printing it that because you're using a lot more ink to print at 300 DPI on something so big that you're just not
What
going to take.
about the layout of the events?
So laying
Like
out the events, we use it's now called Prism. It used to be called All Seated,
I
and
battle seated, I couldn't.
everything has a learning curve. Everything has a learning curve. Um, so to give you an example, how my wife and I
Yes,
do it, my wife will say, can you draw this out for me? And I'll just do the drawing out of the space
and you'll just print it and then put
and
whatever
then
it
and then
is,
I'll save it, and then she'll open it up and she'll put all the things in there because
other things.
I have that. First of all, I do have a measure. If I've gone out and done a walkthrough, and I do have the measure, and I'll make notes on my phone. This wall to this wall is this many feet, and things like that. But it's a good program for it, and it also has the ability to do 3D, which is a much higher level that I would say most people will never have a need for. It's cool, but it's not necessary. So just on the 2D level is perfectly fine for layouts and whatnot, and then you can output it to a PDF and share it with your client,
And
and
share it. Yeah, for the initial showing, it works.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But mhm.
And the only thing I've ever done with 3D in all seated was we were after the pandemic when things were just starting to come back, we were asked to do a bunch of school proms, but they were going to be outdoors, and they wanted to design the space, and I decided to design, make a few, cookie cutter designs. Being that it was outdoors, you kind of, there's no four walls that we had to worry about necessarily, but we still had to
Right.
sort of constrain the groups of people. So I literally designed a few different prototype designs that, hey, package A, package B, package C, and package D, which layout do you like the best? And I did them in 3D. And then I made demo videos that included like the shot of the 3D coming around where you can see it from kind of up in the
Oh,
air,
that's pretty
and
cool.
everything. And I sent that out to the schools that were looking to hire us so they can get an idea. Hey, this is what the stage will look like with a video wall behind it, with the lights, and here's all your tables, properly spaced apart, and the lounge
Yes,
furnishing, food
because a
trucks
lot
because
of people
outdoors.
don't have that vision.
Right.
That's why I still love renderings.
You still love
Uh,
which one?
Renderings.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
Renderings, but
it
even
helps.
though they're much more expensive, but it gives you an exact vision of
Yes.
what the event is going to look like.
Yeah, and listen, you can always pay for people to do renderings and whatnot. It like you said, it's much more expensive, but if it's a client that's worthwhile doing, it's worthwhile getting it
It's
done.
worthwhile getting a rendering. But Jeff, we haven't even touched on half of the list that you have of all the applications for events, so it's another to be continued.
So we'll do 201. I mean, it's just every day there's a something I
There's a
mentioned.
different edition. But
Right.
thank you so much for the update. And everyone,
Pleasure.
until next week, I hope everybody stays safe. And above all, there will be peace in the world. Have
Thank
a
you.
great day.